I only had one vitamin this morning, so that's only half of what I got for you. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. Guys, just let me know if you give me a countdown. I'll yell good morning again with a little more intensity. Intensity, focus. Intensity and focus. All right, good morning. Woo! So excited to be here for our third day, 2 days in a row. Oh, thank you. I got to turn on my little thing. Let me turn it on. Wait for green. Wait. There we go. There we go. Thank you. All right, day 3, the final day. You know, when Rabbi asked me if I wanted to do some classes, I was thinking about how many classes I needed and what I wanted to cover. And we do a financial fitness boot camp. If you give me your email, your name, and your number, or just go to the Money Fit Coaching website that I gave you, just put your information in. It's a free group therapy type coaching. So everybody's in a room similar to this when you get to interact and ask questions. And a financial fitness boot camp is really to get you through this process. But it's to give you accountability to go through the process. It's totally free. You don't pay for that. You only pay if you need some in-depth work. A lot of people have come up to me over the feast and say, well, I want to do this. What do I need to do? How much does it cost? Well, we don't talk about cost until you can get through this, okay? If you need help getting through this, then we'll talk about that one-on-one, because everybody's problems or situation is different, all right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is I want to, as we close these few classes, I want to let you know that I was working on what I was going to talk to you guys about today. Not really working on it, but deciding, picking and choosing what would be relevant to close this process off. Pretty much giving you a 10-week course, trying to put it in 3 days and give you as much information as I can give you. And I think it's been great. I never watch my teachings after I finish, even when I'm teaching, not finances. And to look at it, Rabbi was like, you should go and take a look at it. Because he knows I don't like looking at him either. I don't like hearing myself talk. He said, you should look at it. It was really good. So I looked at the first one, and I was like, oh, that guy's pretty good. And I looked at the second one. And as I was working on it, I believe Yahweh gave me something I never saw before and I never taught it before. But I wrote it up here so I wouldn't forget. And it just rang perfectly for me. You see I wrote early so I can have my spelling correct. It says, saving plans work. Saving plans work. What does that mean? That means if you save your money, you plan your money, work your butt off, you'll achieve the goal. But you can't go through these three processes until you know why you're going through these three processes. Now, I gave you guys a goal of 1 month living expenses, but like I told you and many of you have counseled, this applies to every area in your life, not just your money. If you want to be a business owner, this applies. We just take the different why out. Instead of having a plan for your money, you'll have a plan for your spiritual walk, or you have a plan for your marriage, or you have a plan for your kids, or you have a plan for your spouse, you have a plan for yourself, you have a plan for your retirement, you have a plan for your health. There's a plan for everything in your life. And so as I was working on it, and Yahweh gave me, I believe he gave me this thing that he pointed it out to me. I was like, wow, I've never seen that before. And I've been teaching this stuff since 2011. I've never saw it before. So it's like, okay, because I believe one of the biggest things that I teach is how to save money. It's probably one of the biggest and most important, I think, one of the most important things that I can share with people and show them how to do it, because a lot of people are so afraid of everything, but the fear of saving money or the fear of having $10,000, for instance, sitting in their bank account is scary to a lot of people. And I never knew that. I was in network marketing since I was introduced when I was 16 years old. I've been working since I've been 13. Actually working a job since I've been 13. So I've been very responsible at a very early age. I've been creating businesses and been an entrepreneur since the age of 16. I've failed a lot. I've succeeded a lot too. But one thing that I faced in my journey from 16 till now is about age 21, I believe Yahweh told me that nothing in your life is going to go right until you do what I want you to do. You submit to my will. It's like, okay. So I ran, okay? I ran for a couple years. They used to call me Samuel back in the church because I just ran. I just ran from God. I just ran. But it wasn't until I submitted that his will became my will, and I said, whatever you want me to do, I'll do. Whatever you want me to go, I'll go. Whatever you want me to say, I'll say. I belong to you. So here today, talking about the importance of saving and understanding that you can't be afraid of anything. It's a hard concept to grasp. I tell it to my 14-year-old when we were here 2 years ago. He followed me around. He said, Dad, I just want to watch you. I want to watch how you deal with what he calls stress. And many of us would call it stress too. But he knows my background from being in the military and being all three branches of the police department. I was in the state police. I was in the Federal Reserve Police Department. I was in Baltimore City Police Department. So he knows the stress, and he watches me. He wants to know how I deal with it. And I said, well, first of all, I'm not afraid of anything. There's nothing that I can think of that I'm afraid of. But him, I fear him. You know what I mean? But the other most important thing I tell him, that it changed a little bit when I got about 40, is that I'm not afraid to die. So when you get to that level of not having fear and not being afraid of anything, you can go through anything. I'm not saying anything is fun. I'm saying you can go through anything. And as long as you're breathing on the other side, you can get through it. As long as you know him and you have your relationship right, you can get through it. Nobody said you're going to get through it without any scars. I got many. But you can get through it. All right? So stop being afraid. Today we're going to talk about budgeting. And I left that for last because that's the hardest hurdle for many people to, sorry, I got to turn my phone off. The hardest hurdle for many people to get over is budgeting. It's the hardest hurdle. It's the easiest task, but the hardest hurdle. It's hard because we don't want to face reality of what the numbers are. Okay? Got people come up to me all the time. I got it in my head. I know what it is. I got it on my calendar. Did you write it down on paper, line by line? There's a whole message right here just talking about finances. Line upon line, precept upon precept. Have you written it down to see what your plan is? Have you written it down? Your plans, have you written them down? And so in the process of putting this all together, I won't say we missed it, but I was walking. My wife was supposed to pick me up after breakfast. I was still getting ready. And I spend time, like many of you do, I spend time, especially in the morning and this beautiful view, just spending time with him. Walking and spending time with him. And I believe one of the things that he shared with me this morning is, like every other area in our life, one of our fears is inviting him in to our finances. It's like, wow. It says it's mine, right? The earth is the Lord and fullness thereof and all that dwell therein. It all belongs to him. We talked about that. It's his money. He just lets you manage some of it. And I think he lets you manage it to see how well you're going to manage it. See what kind of decisions you're going to make. I hear people tell me that have a lot of money, oh, God bless me with all this money, and I'm going to do this, that, and the third. None of it has anything to do with him. But they think, they give him credit for blessing with it, and he does. He gives you the power to obtain wealth, so he does. But he gives you it to make a decision. What are you going to do with it? So teaching you that it's not yours and teaching you that it's to establish his covenant in this context of the walk. How do we get you to stop fearing and start working, start doing, right? It applies. We need you to work. We need you to know your why, make a plan, save money, make a plan, then work your butt off to achieve your goal. Then we need you to rinse and repeat. But he said, they're not inviting me in. I said, wow. He reminded me about the scripture that Michael, right? That Michael shared with me. He had a beautiful email that he wrote, a beautiful text, and he shared it with me about God and mammon. Isn't it strange, the two things that he says you'll war against is you, your relationship with him, and money? So this morning he said, they haven't invited me in. That's what I believe he said. We can talk about money all day. If he's not in charge of you, he can't be in charge of your money. If he's not sitting on the throne of your heart, he can't sit on the throne of your bank account. He can't sit on the throne of your business. He can't sit on the throne of your retirement. He can't sit there because you're there, because you think it's yours. So it said, knowing that it's not yours will get you to get off the throne. And guess what? Off the throne and let him sit there A lot of your insecurities will go away. A lot of your fears will go away because you put it in his hands. That's your ammunah. And don't we talk about it? We sing about it. I was going to ask Brianna. I don't have her cell phone number. I was going to ask her if I could sing a little bit of her song, because that's what I was singing coming down, walking down the hill, looking at the mountains, beautiful, the mist rising up off the mountains. And I said, and I do this, but I didn't share with you guys that you should do this and encourage. Yeah, somebody told me. Encourage you guys to do this is an invite him in. Before you sit down with me at the table, or if you come to counsel with me, I'm going to ask you, many of you know, did you pray about it? Depending on what it is. If it's a halakhic thing, did you pray about it? If it's stressing you out and all that, we'll deal with that. Then I'm going to tell you to pray about it and work on it. Get your vertical correct. Get in line with him. But in order for us to do that, we have to invite him in. So I'm coming down the hill, and Janet stopped and said, you need a ride? I was like, no, I'm good. Just spending a little time with him. And I started singing Brianna's song, messed up all the words as usual. I don't even know if they're back here, but I'm singing, I will proclaim your name, you're my king. Is he your king? Is he king over your finances? Or is he just king when you come to services? When service is over, Oneg is over, and we finish at Five Guys and you go home, is he your king when you're sitting in service worried about how you're going to pay your bills? About that paycheck didn't come, or that stimulus you said you were going to get and it never came, that tax return some people are still waiting for. Is he your king in the midst of your trial? Think about the baptism of fire and your trials that you go through. I guarantee you that probably 90% of those involve some kind of finances. But yet we won't invite him in. We won't say you're the king over my finances because you think you can handle that. And the reason you think you can handle it is because you think it's yours. It's not yours. Oh, it's mine. He gave it to me. He gave you the strength and the power to obtain wealth. What if you lost your mind? What if you lost your money? Fear will cause you to not write out the vision. Habakkuk 2, we talked about in the beginning. Write the vision, make it plain. Write your vision. Know your why, write the vision. Make it plain so you can walk. Walk where? Work on your vision. You need to write it down so I know what I'm working and walking towards. What am I trying to achieve? But I need to invite him in. We pray about everything. I don't know how many people pray about their finances before there's an issue with them. I encourage husbands and wives, they come to work with me with their finances. Did we pray about these things? Maybe the direction you want to go with this extra money you have to start this business, maybe he doesn't want you to start a business. Maybe he has plans for you that you don't know. Wait, maybe it's a scripture. I know the plans I have for you. And some of us have relied so heavily on that scripture because he knows that you never wrote a plan because you use that as an excuse. Like, he knows my heart. I know the plans I have for you, but he wants to see what you're going to do. I gave you the ability, Matthew 14, right? I gave you the ability to obtain wealth. I'm the master. I'm going away. I'm giving you this money, and I want to see what you're going to do with it. Are you going to bury it in the ground? Are you going to take it and double it? Because it's not yours. The master gave it to you. Are you going to make 10 times the amount? No. I'm going to buy a bigger house. Because I'm not satisfied with what I need. I want what I want. Because I'm sitting on that throne. I'm going to buy a nicer car. I don't need it. But because I have a business and my business provides enough income, I'm going to lease the vehicle, take that payment and put it towards that so I can look nice and feel good about myself because I want to impress the people around me that are just as broke as I am. And I realized listening to my class yesterday that I never defined, after I said broke, people in the room. I never defined what broke was, because everybody in the room isn't broke. But I heard it and I didn't like it, so I'm going to correct it. Broke means living paycheck to paycheck. And everybody in the room is not living paycheck to paycheck. But I guarantee you that the people that do come and do sit in the room, they have one or two positive things going for them. One, they have it, they're trying to do better. Or two, they don't have it, and they want to find out how to get it, how to do it right. The ones that are not in the room are the ones that I hear, somehow they're not in the room, but they listen to the teaching. And then I got a bunch of confessions, which is okay. You see that the fear, the conviction from him. I just share the information. I can't make you think, but you think about it and you start analyzing your life. Analyzing, thinking, hey, am I sitting on the throne of my finances, or I'm allowing him in? So I want to challenge you to allow him to come in and work on your finances. Allow him to examine your heart and say, is it about me or is it about money? Am I serving you or am I serving money? Now, you need money to work. Money is amoral. It's not good or it's not bad. Depends on what you do with it that determines what it is. We all know the scripture. We messed it up. I definitely did when I was young, talking about money. The love of money is the root of all evil. How do you tie that in? Do you love money enough to not follow the commandments because you want to work on Saturday? You see how that plays in? But the church, and I'm not knocking the church. I used to be a Christian pastor. The church never taught you that because they were too busy trying to get their agendas done and get their plans met and pay off their bills and get their salaries. So they didn't want to teach you about it, because if they taught you about it and they didn't even understand how awesome Yahweh is in a way, at least the ones that I've worked for. I'm not going to say all of them, the ones I work for, but it really doesn't matter because they're not doing what we're doing. We're talking about what we're doing, right? But they didn't teach people how to be free. How to be free. I want you to be free. Yahweh wants you to be free. Why? So you can do what he wants you to do. Because he knows your plans. You're trying to figure it out. And a lot of us are holding on to our bank accounts very tightly, and we're not allowing him in. I heard that somebody said, oh, you talk like you're rich. In him I am. And I will always be, because he sits on the throne, whether I'm rich or poor financially. I told you I had many jobs I got fired from. One coming into this walk, I was district manager for Payless Shoe Stores. And I thought that, when I got a letter to come for their bankruptcy, I was a little happy in my heart. I was thinking, Yahweh, you bankrupted an organization just because they fired me wrongfully? Of course not. Maybe. No. But they lied on me. I called Rabbi. I counseled too. I called Rabbi. I was like, look, they didn't lie on me. I don't know what I'm going to do. I put in my resignation because I knew I couldn't work on Shabbat. And I didn't have to. I had store managers, and they had managers and key holders and all that. I didn't have to. Was never a requirement until I made a statement and said I'm not going to work on Saturday. I can't work on Saturday. My religious observance, which I had the right to do within the law. Went to the vice president of HR. I said, look, I can't do this. She said, not a problem. Just fill out the paperwork, and then I'll take care of it. I said, okay, great. So Rabbi told me, wise counsel, right? He said, if you put in your notice, make sure you have another job lined up. You're looking for something. In my field, I didn't have to worry about it. I can get a job like that. So I put in my notice, right? 4 months before the end, because my position, I can't give a 2-week. I could give a 2-week notice, but if, I wanted to do the right thing, right? 4-month notice. Less than 30 days after I put in the 4-month notice, my boss came to me into the store when I was checking out one of my stores, and she was the regional manager. She came in, and she said, let me have your keys. because I made a stand for Shabbat, right? Let me have your keys. I was like, what's going on? She said, the store manager's here, and you can go home. We don't need you. So because I put in 4 months' notice, I'm calling myself helping them, right? Oh, I'm not going to leave them high and dry. I know how long it takes to get a district manager. I'm managing multiple stores. They didn't think that much of me, and, they let me go. So anyway, going through the unemployment, that was a headache because they lied, said I did something I didn't do. I won the unemployment, but I took that moment because I listened to Rabbi. You know how he says we're not listening? I listened, and I began to retool myself. Okay? I've always taught finances on the side for free. Never charged. It was a part of what we did in ministry, right? But I said all this knowledge and wealth and information that Yahweh has given me to make worldly men rich, because I could sell ice to Eskimo, and I enjoy it. I don't do it anymore, but it's still very fun to see the excitement on people's faces when you help them achieve their goals, right? So that's where the Money Fit coaching came in at. After that, I retooled myself. I took all the information I knew from being a manager in retail and from being in the police department and loving to sell. Me and my wife stopped a business called InfoShare Marketing Group. And I like the name. I think Yahweh gave it to me. I share info, share information. Again, I can share the info. I can't make you think. So we had that running for a while. I got some other side jobs, and that was just a side job. But that side job became our regular income, and that's when I told you guys, share the fact that before we came here and gave it all up, that was a business success. We were making more money with that business than we ever made working for anybody. We made it for ourselves. Working probably 4 or 5 hours a day, but if you put me and my wife, because we did it together, about 10 hours a day we put in. All right? We were still able to take care of our family and do all that. And I achieved that success, was very happy with that. We dropped it. Now, most people think, they hear that story, because I've mentioned it many times, they hear that story and think, well, why do you have that car? If you were making more money than you made in your life, and I heard you talk about another testimony when you're a police officer, the most you made was $77,000. So I had to be making more than $77,000, right? And I dropped it all. But they say, well, why you got that car? Because it's paid for. Why is you, because they hear that. Because the world has sold you on the idea that you have to look like you have money. That you have to tell people and brag about how much money you make. I don't care how much money you make. That doesn't impress me. You want to impress me? Show me what's in your bank account, your savings account. You want to impress me? Show me that your mortgage is paid off. Those things impress me, because those things are going to help you be free. Those things tell me that it's not about you, it's about him, and he's sitting on the throne of your heart, and it's about what he wants to do through you in the world, not what you think you can do for your friends and family around you through your bank account. That was like a download while I'm walking, looking at the mountain. They say, yeah, you started talking about, yeah. You're my king. You're my king. We talk about praising him through the circumstance, right? We were on a Zoom meeting, international Zoom meeting with the Aussies, and Gary Flint set it up. We were on this Zoom meeting, me and my wife. And one night I was tired, didn't want to get on the Zoom. And my wife loves to get on the Zoom because she wanted to fellowship through the Zoom. It's an awesome thing, they still do it. You should jump on it, like our zone meetings. And my wife had been praying. I didn't know she had been praying, but she'd been praying for this job that apparently I came home and complained about that I was working. I was a regional manager for this business called Tank Utility, and we used to go out and install propane monitors on propane tanks, electronic, digital, whatever you want to call it, propane monitors, so they know how much fuel they need without having to come out, save companies a lot of money. So I ran 5 states. I controlled 5 states as a regional manager, and I was never home, had all the fancy stuff. I like being with my wife, just so you guys know. I enjoy spending time with her. So I don't like being out for days on end, on the road working and all that. I enjoy being with her. Sometimes the kids can join it, but I enjoy. No, I love my family. But I didn't know she was praying for me to leave that job. And this is before we started working for ourselves. And the point to the money-making thing, we only did that for about 4 or 5 months before we moved. All right? Because people look at you and they evaluate you based on what you say. They hang on to every word. But I only did it for 4 or 5 months, maybe 6 months before we moved. We were doing this incredible amount of business, and we loved it. But having my kids here, being here with you guys, being here under the word, trained by Rabbi, walking with him and seeing life and getting to enjoy every moment at every feast, it was more than worth it to let it go. Because he sits on the throne of my heart, it's not me. Money doesn't sit on the throne. My wife doesn't sit on the throne. I don't sit on the throne. Rabbi doesn't sit on the throne. Yahweh sits on the throne of my heart. So I was willing to let it go. So don't be impressed by your family and friends and what they have and what they don't have. You need to be intentional about setting and reaching your attainable goals. So if you got that 1 month and we put $3,000 when we started that 1 month, I don't know about you, but if you got a credit card that has $3,000 on it, it's not yours that you can spend, right? $3,000. But there are not too many emergencies that are going to come up in your life that are $3,000 or more. And I know some people with disability, I got some questions people ask, and I'll try to get to those today. But some people live on a limited income. And do you know these people on a limited income that's not even making $1,000 a month or more eager to figure out a way to win? And it amazes me. Because like I said in the beginning, the people that need this the most are not here. And prayerfully, they'll get their job and their bank account and their investments and all this other stuff off the throne of their heart. Stop letting the God and mammon idea distract them from reaching their goals, because all of it is a distraction. Rabbi talks about temptation, and if you're not a drunk, then you're not going to be tempted by those things. If you're not this or not that, you won't be tempted by those things. But I think all of us in our lives have been affected, tempted, some way, which way or another, by our finances. We've enabled, we've lent, expecting to get a return back. We've co-signed. You know, Scripture tells you not to co-sign. How many of you knew that? Oh, good. And we still do it. We co-sign for stuff. I met with a woman who was 67. I think she was 66 or 67. She co-signed her Social Security for her granddaughter's college, student loan college fund, whatever you want to call it, to pay for college. Do you know that's one area where they will garnish your Social Security for? One of the many areas most people don't know. The granddaughter didn't even finish the school, dropped out or whatever, didn't finish. I don't know if she dropped out or whatever, but she didn't finish, and they're garnishing grandma's wages for her student loan debt. Invite him in. Say, look, Yahweh, all of this is yours. Get that mindset. Start from that place. All of it is yours. Not 90, not 10, not 30, not 70. All of it is yours. And guess what? When I don't know what to do, I'm going to step back and get counsel, and I'm going to wait. I've been there, done that. I'm passionate about saving. Very passionate. I told you guys why. I've seen it destroy homes, marriages, infidelity, sugar daddies, side chicks, side dudes, all of that. I've seen it all. And it wasn't that they didn't have the money. It's when they had it, they didn't do the right thing with it because they didn't know. I was surprised. I was actually frustrated and upset. I got a disability settlement many years ago, and it was $25,000. I tithed and did all that. Was back in the church, you know, it was only one tithe. I tithed. And we went through it less than a week. Less than a week. Don't say, oh, wow, I had debt. I have very little debt, close to none now, but I had debt then. And I thought I was doing a good thing. I'm putting away debt. I'm cleaning up debt. I got this debt. Debt that's sitting there on my credit report. Yeah, I had a horrible credit score because I had bad credit cards 20-something years ago, and I don't live off credit. So I'm paying off this debt, which is good in the right order. I'm not telling you don't pay off debt. You spent it, you should pay it. All right? I'm not one of them ones, let me wipe off your credit report. I don't do any of that. We got consumer law attorneys that we work with. They take care of those things, and they don't wipe it off. They make sure it's yours and that you should pay it if it's yours, and they help you pay it so you don't have to go to these debt consolidation thieves to get it taken care of, and then they charge you more than that your debt actually was. You can pay off your debt yourself. I don't care how much it is. But anyway, we paid off the debt that we had at the time. We burnt off a timeshare. Now, this is during the 2 years we're trying to get ourselves together because we wanted to buy a house. I'm glad we didn't. We paid off this debt. After I paid off the debt, no more money, I get fired from a job. Just had $25,000 a week ago. It's gone. I'm happy I paid off debt. A couple days later, I'm sad, frustrated, mad, because I have no money saved. No money saved. I can raise my hand and say I got the flag for being responsible. I was responsible to pay off my debt because I spent it, but I did it in the wrong order. I had no money saved. I got fired. I went outside to get in my car to go find another job, and the person that owned the car dealership from the car that I had, that I owed payments on, was sitting in the car, in the driveway. Well, we had a parking lot, wasn't a driveway. Sitting in the car. So I went out to him. I said, "What's up?" He's like, "Your payment is due for this week." One of them weekly payment things, right? I got so caught up in paying off debt, I didn't pay off the $3,500 car that I had. And guess what? He drove away with the car. Lost $25,000. Got fired from a job. And now my car is driving away. I'm not telling you because I've attained something other than the understanding and the knowledge to know that he sits on the throne of my heart now, and it's not me, because I couldn't do very well with it. But the point is, I had it in my hand, didn't have any coaching, didn't have any knowledge, didn't have anybody tell me what to do with it. I did what everybody I talked to, just about everybody I talked to, they get that money in hand, and they want to go run and pay off debt. And the ones that have a lot of money, that think they're secure and don't have budgets, they say, well, I have a good job. In this day and age, with everything that's going on in the world, is any job secure? No. We talk to men in the military, men and women in the military, corporate America jobs, governmental jobs from all sizes, all shapes, politicians, you name it, doctors. Your job isn't secure. But because we're sitting on the throne, our financial throne of our heart, and not allowing him to sit on our heart, we make decisions without guidance. And we think we have a false security blanket, thinking that because we got this high-paying job or whatever job you have, that it's not going to go anywhere, that you're secure. So I've changed it. Many people know they took the Dave Ramsey Financial Peace University. I taught that for years as well. And I always change the emergency fund, the savings. I always changed it from getting 1 month to 3 to 6 months of saving your emergency fund, because $1,000, unfortunately, in this day and world, may not cover many emergencies. To getting insurance, because they don't tell you about that, all right? At least not in setting up your initial budget. And then 3, saving 6 months to a year, living expenses, paying off your mortgage. Just 3 easy steps. If you get off the throne, it's easy. If you do the work, it's easy. If you're dedicated, it's easy. If you stop listening to the opinions of other people, it's easy. You stop listening to your uncle, aunt, sister, cousin. It can be easy. So unlike Robert Kiyosaki, I have a rich uncle. He rich dad, poor dad, right? I have a rich uncle. And he became rich at the age of 41 in 1991. The last time we met, about 4 years ago in Connecticut, it was the first time I met him, it was also the last time. He did it through working 2 jobs and investing the income from the second job into the stock market. Then the stock market hit, whatever, 1991, he left his job. And now he pays in taxes every year more than a few people in this room combined together salary is, and he's trying to find out a way to lower his taxes because he makes that much money. So I said, Uncle, and I'm not going to say his name, even though none of you would know him, but I said, Uncle, and this was about 5, 6 years ago. I said, how did you do it? And he put it on my shoulder, he took me to the side, he said, all the years that I've been a millionaire, he's a multimillionaire, nobody has ever asked me how I did it. He has 2 spoiled kids and a bunch of family members, great aunts and uncles of mine, who complain about his house in Colorado and his house in Florida. And he has a house somewhere else too. Traveled the world, climbed Kilimanjaro 12 times, on something crazy. Lived out in the desert with the Moroccans, you know, on this fancy luxury thing 7 times. I was like, that sounds awesome. Everybody I talked to, if money, you know, if they had all the money they needed, what would they be doing? The number one answer is travel. They want to travel. Everybody wants to travel. They want to get away from whatever their circumstances. Usually themselves, and they can't run fast enough. And I looked at the spoiled children, and he said, nobody's ever asked me that. He said, everybody wants the result, but they don't want to go through the process. They want the millions and want me to tell them how I did it, but they don't want to work 2 jobs, full-time jobs, for 20 years and invest the money from the second job into whatever investment vehicles, and just don't get the insecure thought that if you put it in some kind of market, you're not going to lose it. I talked to many people who put hundreds of thousands and lost it all. That's why I said if it's not liquid in the bank, in the savings account, money market account, it's not yours. If it's in the market, you don't have it. The market has it. You have ownership of it in the market, but the market has it. Markets crash. Markets go bye-bye, okay? Banks get bought and sold. So I'm not saying don't do it, and I'm not telling you taking your money out. I'm just saying make sure you got cash in the bank, okay? That's all I'm saying. So he took me to the side, and he said, let me give you some pointers. Put your money in, don't take it out. Leave it in there. I said, well, what do you invest? You know, what are you invested in? He said, I don't even know all the stuff I'm investing in. I got investment advisors, and I give it to them, and they manage it. They take their fee out. Guess what? They don't make money if they don't make me money. So I trust them that they're going to make me money. And he's doing very well. But the point that I got from that, because I know everybody thinking, what investments did he do? Probably IBM, Amazon, something, I don't know, Apple. But the point, Matt, I want you to get is everybody wants the end result. They don't want to go through the process to get it. I can't tell you how many people sit down with me with their budget and want me to do their budget. I look at them like they're crazy. That's why I haven't told anybody here how much I charge. I said, we got to sit down first. Let's talk about it. Because a lot of people come to me and they want to hand me their headache and say, I want you to do it. That's not what I do. I take your headache, I look at your headache, and I says, I see why you have a headache. Then I help them develop a plan to get rid of their headache. But if they don't do the plan that I created for them, they're going to still have a headache. Probably a bigger headache, because the reality of the fact is, if it's not written down, you don't know your why, you can't follow it. So they give up. They think somebody is going to come in and rescue them out of their responsibility to sit down and write down everything that you spend. It's that simple. For 1 month, 30 days, write down everything that you spend. Save every receipt. I don't care if it's on a debit, credit card, whatever. I just want to know, do you know your numbers? Because there hasn't been one couple that I've sat down with that did that when I looked it over, I said, did you forget you have to eat? Do you own a washer and dryer? No, I don't. You forgot to put down laundry. Laundry, doing your laundry. You forget to put down those snacks that you get because you don't want to get up and make lunch. Or that quick $5 meal at McDonald's. You forget those things. You forget the extra coffee that you bought your coworker because they didn't have money that day. You forget those small things. You forgot that pack of mints that you needed because you forgot to brush your teeth. You were rushing out of the house. You forgot that. And so all of that matters. Okay, so I'm looking at $2,000 came in. Show me where $2,000 went out. You have to show me. I'm not there to do it for you. I'm there to guide you through the process. And if you have a hiccup, let me know, and we can work through it. And then I put couples and families, I put them on an allowance. They think it's hilarious. How can you put me on allowance with my money? I'm putting you on allowance with his money because you came to me to help you get to where he wants you to get to because he knows your plans. You need to get off the throne because you think you made it, it's yours, and you need to allow him to allow me to help you. As long as you want to go, I'll walk with you. You walk away, it's on you. Oh, you can clap. Awesome. Remember that if you need a foot. No, I'm kidding. I love the verse. Scripture says that we'll never be separated from Yahweh's love. Nothing can separate us. Right? No height, no depth, no things below, things above, principalities. But nothing can separate us from his love but you. Because you can choose to walk away. You can choose to do nothing. And you'll end up wherever you end up. I don't know where you're going to end up. You didn't have a plan. Stop listening to people that are broke and stressed out. Start finding people that are successful in areas you want to be successful in. You know how Rabbi talks about his motivational stuff? He's invested a lot of money and time and attention. I've invested a lot of time and attention in the finances. It's not something I want to do. I enjoy. I would rather sell something, like insurance I used to sell. But his people need to understand and learn about it so we can be free. I have a friend of mine, and he did some good things with his money. He retired from workers' comp, but he did some good things with his money. But one thing that he did is he taught his congregation, and he wasn't in this walk. It's okay to have friends that are not in this walk, correct? All right, okay, just want to make sure you guys understand it. So he was a friend. Actually, a family member. Is my brother-in-law's cousin, so he's sort of in there somewhere. But he had this church, and he got on the news, a local news in Baltimore, because the church bought him and his wife matching Rolls Royce. Not the ministry. The people in the ministry, the congregation, bought him and his wife matching Rolls Royce. $600,000 together for both cars. Paid it off. It was their cars. We want to bless you. We're going to give you this car. It made the news. Why did it make the news? They think he's one of these wealth, name it and claim it pastors. He wasn't. But what he did is he knew about business. So he attracted a bunch of business owners that got together. And they got together and bought him and his wife a gift. All these business owners. Made the news. What can we do for him if we were free? If we were successful? If we got off the throne of our heart and said, instead of me buying a bigger house, I'm going to take this money, I'm going to invest it into the kingdom. Say, Yahweh, how can I be a blessing to the kingdom? Y'all know we got a rabbi that don't never ask for anything, and I'm not going to ask either. But I always thought about it. I told you guys about it, I think, in yesterday's class or the first one. If we were free and we could all get together, 1,000 of us, 30,000 online, another 250 locally, and if you come to a feast, 500-600, if we got together and everybody just pledged, we could burn the note off and have the building paid for. I'm excited about things like that because if we come together and we're free, guess what? Free people don't worry about stuff that unfree people worry about. I'm doing okay. All right. Set boundaries. When you're going through this process, set boundaries. Spend your time wisely. Stop wasting time. We talk about wasting food, wasting money. Equate money to your time. Stop wasting time. What do I mean? You got a business idea. You're thinking about it. I had somebody tell me that they go to work 8 hours, they come home and work another 8 hours on their business idea. And at points throughout their life, they've been successful. Set boundaries, stop wasting time. All of your time should be accounted for. We talked about budgets today. I gave you the form. You got to fill it out. All of your time should be accounted for. Some of us as men need time that we need to allocate that I'm going to spend time with my wife. I'm going to take an hour. I'm going to take 2 hours every day, whatever it is. Allocate the time. I'm going to spend time with my wife because somehow we got confused and thought, I don't know who lied to us men, lied to us and told us that once we got the prize, then we can just sit it on the shelf and let it collect dust. We don't take our prize out and wipe it off. We don't dust it off. We don't get the polish and polish it off. We don't appreciate it because we got it. Now I'm on to the next thing. I've accomplished this goal. I'm on to the next thing. Plan your time. Wives, do it for your husbands. Plan if you have one. You want one? Plan. This is not over after you say I do. It just started. Plan. Take him out. Give him a background. Find out what he wants. I do my best to make people happy. It may not be what I want to be happy, but guess what? If you're happy, I'm happy, especially if we're in the same space. All right? Spend your time wisely. You think you need a schedule or a budget for your money? You need one for your time. Spend your time wisely. And no, to all of you that listen to the TikToks think there's going to be balance. As a business owner, there is no balance. You have to create balance. I've told people to shut their business down because their business grew out of control to a place that was unmanageable. It was never what they intended, never what they wanted. It destroyed their marriage. It destroyed their children. Just know that for those that want to start businesses. It will destroy your life. As Rabbi says, it will eat your lunch. Being a business owner will eat your lunch. If you don't want to work for somebody else 8 hours on salary, 50 hours a week, how much do you think you're going to work to make that same salary working for yourself? It's going to eat your lunch. It's going to turn around and eat you if you don't manage it appropriately. Just a note for those that want to get in business. I'm not saying all business. I'm saying if it's not done right, if it's not planned out right, if you don't set boundaries, spend your time wisely, and stop wasting, it'll eat your lunch. Pay off your debt fast. When you get to this stage, save 6 months to a year living expenses and pay off your mortgage. Try to pay off your debt fast. Why? The faster you pay it off, the more money you save. The more money you save to do things that you want to do rather than doing things you have to do. Most people don't understand that their job is competing with their life. Because you know you need this job to provide that check, that income to provide for your lifestyle. And that doesn't matter if you work for yourself or not. You need that customer, that client, you need that sale to maintain your lifestyle. What if you change it around and your focus wasn't just on that, but your focus was on him, and everything you do is unto him? It doesn't matter where you work. I learned that early in ministry. I think I was about 23 years old. And I was like, Yahweh, I just want to work for you. I just want to work for you. I just want to be in your house. I want to be where you are, and I just want to work for you. And I believe he said to me that everything I believe Yahweh says, I can point to it in Scripture. That's confirmation for me, and it's actually exciting because I know what I believe I heard. I can go point to it in Scripture. It says everything you do is unto me. So if I'm trying to be like Yeshua and I'm trying to be the best me that I can be, trying to transform into him, it doesn't matter where I work. I'm him. I'm transforming. I should be that light. If I'm at work, it doesn't matter where I work. I don't have to work in the ministry to work for him. Everything I do is unto him. So if I can't offer what I'm doing unto him, I shouldn't be doing it. Some people are in the wrong job doing the wrong thing. It's something you can fix, okay? But just put it in perspective. I know I'm giving you a lot. You have to go back and look at it. But let's make sure we're spending time and not wasting time on things that are not important. We want to pay off our debt fast as we can, so we'll have the freedom and the security to do things and make decisions we want to, not decisions we have to. A lot of times when I meet with people, I'm meeting with them at the point when they have to make a decision. I said, this started 6 months ago. If you came 6 months ago, we would be sitting here deciding the best decision that you want to make, not the decision that you have to make. Because now we're at the point where we got to do something quick. All right? So, I gave you guys a quick start budget. If you're interested in doing it, I'm sure you are probably because you're here. You want to write down all of your expenses. Rabbi taught in his first money mastery class. If you don't know what you're spending, you can't tell me that you're not wasting. And having enough money at the end of the month, more than you have bills, is not a sign. It's not proof to me that you're not wasting. Just means you have so much you can't even see it. A lot of us are wasting because we can't see it if we are big figure earners. I told you guys yesterday about the story of the people spending $3,500 a month eating because they had a home chef. Their issue was they were making over $25,000. They had to lower their expenses because I do that probably more than I offer you to go get 12 jobs. I tell you, let's lower your expenses. Let's see where you're spending. After I see those numbers, where you're spending, you'll see it before I see it. And you'll come in, oh my gosh, I didn't know I was spending $1,200 a month on groceries for 4 people. Yeah, they sound like that too because they be crying, and the mucus get in. So the family with $3,500, theirs was simple. Cut $3,500 in half. Most people don't want to quit their lifestyle, but they want to get out of debt, And I know Dave Ramsey is the rice and beans and rice. I'm not that guy. I'm that guy that I want to look at what you have and let's figure out a way together because I need you to buy into your plan. I won't give you my plan. My plan may not work for you. Somebody asked me yesterday, he said, how can you feed 5 people with $500 a month? Easy, discipline in the budget. I can't do it. Well, it depends on your personal situation. Maybe you can afford to spend more money on food. Maybe you want a better quality of food. Maybe you want to eat a bunch of expensive meats or, everything in the house is organic and grass-fed and lives with the unicorns. Whatever it is that you want. I'm teasing because I went on a raw diet for like 4 days. Tremendous results. But I felt like I was a unicorn. I was like, this can't be real. I don't even know how you get full. I felt great. I felt amazing. But you can do it. It takes focus. It takes a plan. If I only have guess what? If you only had $200 in your pocket to spend for groceries, that's all you would spend. You would find a way to do it. But we don't want to discipline ourselves to make sure that I stay within $500 in my case. In many months, we went over $500. Many months. Because we got Erev Shabbat and we got the Oneg and different things that we got running late. We got to eat out and do all those things. Guess what? All I do is reallocate from another area that I didn't spend as much in. I saved some money and reallocate it towards that. That's all. I had people in the office frustrated. I overspent on my house, but you saved on your car insurance. We just reallocated. We're going to move this number here, and we're going to put it here. It takes about 90 days to get a good budget. Once you write it, we sit down. It takes about 90 days to get you active at it. And it's something you got to do every month. So if you're depressed, you're going to be depressed every month. But we can get you out of your depression. Depressed, you only depressed because you don't know where your money's going. You know the guy on the Allstate commercial, Mayhem? We run around looking like him, hiding and ducking and all beat up and bruised. Not knowing where our money is, not knowing where it's going. We didn't pay ourselves first. So we get stuck. Get Yahweh in. He'll help you know your why because he already knows the plans he has for you. Get him in. Get your 1 month of living expenses. No, we're not going to have a card-cutting party, maybe for Passover. It's almost 10 o'clock. I got till 10:30 because Rabbi said. And he said he's not going to come in and say, you got 5 minutes when I got 10. But since I've been here and I've been doing these classes, I've heard many, many amazing testimonies. I told you Michael Willard sent me an awesome text message that he got that Yahweh shared with him about God and money, God and mammon, and the relationship between the two. And one I heard yesterday by Miss Norma, I told her I was going to ask her to come up. She said she would share. So come on up, Miss Norma. Come on, give Miss Norma a hand. That mic should be on. She has an amazing testimony about tithing and work and finance. And so I wanted her to share while we have some time.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Yes, I had so many that I don't even know how to start.
The tithing one you shared with me.
Yeah,
you
that
can start
one.
with that one.
Yes, that's the last one so far. I started this path in November 2017. So my third year, when I'm supposed to start my third tithe, is after this Sukkot. But in February, I was thinking, well, why I have to wait that much? I can start now. So at that point, the agency was going through several changes and big waves of new employees, and all the employees where I work were, applying for new positions, lead, supervisors, in different departments. So I just had in mind one new position that is the one that I wanted since I started working for the agency 20 years ago, and that was in the investigations unit. So I wanted to get there. So practically there were no openings at that time yet, but I said, well, I'm going to apply for the other positions, but I really don't want them. So I started applying, started getting calls for the interviews. I went through the interviews, taking notes, and kind of getting ready for the interviews, but because I don't like to be in leadership. I don't want to be a supervisor. I don't want to be a lead, but I want to get the experience of that interview. So I did. I went through many. I didn't get them, of course, because I didn't show interest. But I was taking notes and getting ready for that specific opening. So I got into the announcement. I saw that there was an opening. I was, investigations. So, well, obviously I applied. I was ready. And all this happened in February this year. So in the meantime, I was preparing myself for my third tithe with my prior income. And obviously, I was not going to make it. I said, it's not my problem.
Amen.
I just need to be obedient, and I don't need to wait until 3 years and 11 months to start my third tithe. I can start it now. So I made my third tithe with my prior income, and I put it in the mailbox. 2 days later, I received the offer for the new position in investigations.
Oh, man. That's not even the good part. Go ahead.
And the best part is that I started working on my dream job. And the difference, obviously with overtime, because I always work 6 days a week, was that just the difference covered my first, second, and third tithe.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
The prior testimony is that when I started this walk in November 2017, at that time I was working on Saturdays until I got into the teaching about Shabbat. And I was like, oh, I knew it. I knew that it was wrong. So I talked to my supervisor. I said, I'm going to stop working on Saturdays. And in fact, on Fridays, I want the accommodation to start working earlier so I can leave before sunset. And she said, perfectly fine, no problem with me, go for it. So I did that. And the most amazing thing is that I told Abba, I know that I'm going to be short. I need that extra income. But like I always say, it's your problem. I just want to be walking in obedience, and I know that you will supply. Amen. In less than a month, I think they opened the option to work on Sundays.
Amen. Amen. Huge praise. Huge praise. Thank you, Miss Norma.
So, one more?
Sure.
Talking about blessings, one of the things that I was always criticized by my family, that I always bring people to live in my house. And this time I brought family members that came from other country, and they were in my house for over a year. No charge, no rent, don't worry about food. My father's supply, you will see. And I have a friend that has a ministry. She collects food from grocery stores. And that lady was also living in my house for a year. And she was bringing boxes and boxes of food practically every other week. Supply, meat, chicken, you name it. So practically, I was not even spending money on food, just basic things. So then these other two family members were living in my house for like a year until they were settled and they got good jobs and they could get their own apartment. They moved out. And in the beginning of this month, well, they moved already for over a year. And my nephew, he found a job in roofing, and he learned the roofing work here. He was working for this company that they didn't know what to do with extra materials that they got from a big project. And he said, I'm going to bring it to your house because I'm going to change your roof eventually. So I had piles and piles of shingles and nails and you name it, a lot of material, and I was like getting crazy with all that stuff in the back of my house. I said, well, I'm not going to worry about it. So then, in the beginning of this month, I went on vacation for 10 days to Seaside, completely alone with Abba. And then when I went back home for 3-4 days before to come to this feast, my entire roof was new.
Praise Yah. Amen.
Free of charge. I didn't pay for materials. I just bought a few tools for them. And obviously I gave them some money. Still need to give them some for the labor. But he didn't even want to receive money for that. But they saved me over $15,000.
Woo! Amen. Thank you, Miss Norma.
And one little more.
One more.
My son is also staying in my house now. My other daughter, because they are in the process of getting their own homes, and they are helping tremendously with the work in my house, changing faucets, fixing leaking bathrooms, and etc., all for free.
Amen. Amen. Huge praise. Thank you, Miss Norma. And I've heard many, so just because I didn't call you up. You know, I heard it, and I appreciate it. One thing that she said that she had a plan. Did you hear that? She had a plan. What did she do after she had the why? She knew what she wanted to do. She knew her why. She began to work on setting up her plan, creating her plan. She said she worked on it. She knew what she wanted to do. There was no way for her to do it when she initially wanted to do it. Yahweh opened up a door for her to do it. She had a plan. She started working on her plan. She got what she wanted. Go ahead. She got a whole lot, by the way. She got a whole lot.
I forgot to say something really important. Probably 8 months ago, I think that it was in last feast or after, I asked Rabbi some general information about what to pay off first. And because I have been working overtime for maybe 15 years, I'm walking in obedience, working 6 days a week. Oh, pretty like 65 hours a week. And he gave me the advice what to pay off first. I have 3 big bills. So I pay off one of them. Now, with this additional $600 plus more money from my overtime, I'm going to start paying off my mortgage. And it's $31,470 something. Sorry, I forgot the pennies. That I had to pay off, and my goal is to pay it off in 1 year. Oh, after that year, I will have only one bill. That is what I had to ask the bank. It was for a loan when my mom passed away, because I didn't have any saving. It was like $25,000. So then that is going to be next, and that is going to be paid off probably in maybe 6 months, because I will have the additional $600 plus the mortgage. That is $1,100 in, and then plus overtime money. So probably in 6 months or less. So my goal is 1.5 years to be free of that.
Amen. Amen. I like that plan. I like that plan. All right. Hopefully you guys got this. If not, look at the video. I know they did some close-ups because I'm erasing it, because I'm going to go over real quick your budgeting form. All right? And we talked about putting Yahweh on the throne of your heart. It starts with him. He's first in all things. And with 3 tithes, a lot of people get confused. So I want to show you how you should be setting up your budget. It doesn't matter if you have enough. It's not based on how much money you have. If you have any income coming in and it's tithable income, your budget should start off looking like this. First tithe, second tithe, if you listen to Rabbi's teaching, his money mastery, 1 and 2, third tithe. All right? Then you pay yourself. Then mortgage or rent. Your light bill. You need lights, right? Lights, electricity. You need water. Sometimes water is not included. And you need food. Somebody might say, well, if I got first, second, third tithe, I want to pay myself. This is not my third tithe year. You can take some of this money and reallocate it to another thing that you need if you don't have enough money. So when you first sit down with me, I'm looking at these categories. There's a lot of people that sit down with me and I don't go over it. If you don't bring it up, I won't go over it. Unless I have to. If you bring it up that you're tithing and you want to tithe, you want to get your tithing right, we'll go over it. If it's not, I'll mention it when I need to mention it, but it's between you and him. The tithing part is between you and him. This is what I do. And I do this every year, and it was awesome that Rabbi mentioned the third tithe every year to take it out, to just get in line with taking it out so you're not surprised when that third year comes. The third and sixth year when you're paying your third tithe, if you do it all the time, believe me, when you put it down on paper, things will start to line up. You can see where your money's going. You can make sure your four walls are taken care of. The fifth one you should do anyway, but make sure your four walls are taken care of, right? And if we had an emergency budget, I would just be looking at these items here. These items here. We can always reallocate that tithe when it's not your third or your sixth year. You can put it towards your emergency fund investments, paying off debt like Norma. You got that 10%, but we want to do that every year. Why are we going to do it this way? He's first, he's second, he's third, then it's you and your family, right? Pay yourself first, then it's your bills. Some people say, well, how much do I pay myself? That's really based on your income. I know when I didn't have a job, but I had savings, I was thinking to myself, a little internal prayer. I was like, at the time, I think me and my wife were getting $25 a week. $25, we could do whatever we want. We didn't have to talk to the spouse about whatever. We could do whatever we wanted to do with that money. That was our paycheck. Now, the rest of the money went towards bills. Because your home is like a business. If you're a business owner, you got to pay yourself. You got to pay your employees. You got to pay for your expenses. So this is how we set up. We gave each other $25. When I lost the job, I said, yeah, should I be still paying ourselves $25? He said, pay it as long as you can pay it. That's what I believe he said to me. So we did it. Do you know that by the time we never stopped. We actually increased because I wound up getting another job. My wife prayed for the job. I lost the job. She told it to everybody on Zoom. I was upset that she told everybody I lost the job. I got fired. She was happy about it. That's what was frustrating. I was like, I wasn't even on that meeting. Where's Gary? If he's in here, he knows. I wasn't even on that meeting. I was so upset that she told everybody in the Zoom meeting, hey, my husband lost his job. I'm so excited. I've been praying about it. Like, what? Can you talk to me before you start praying so I can make sure we seeing eye to eye? She said, yeah, but I know Yahweh's going to provide. I said, I know he's going to provide too, but at this very moment, in the midst of this situation, do you know the next day she got fired too? I was like, girl, give me a high five. Give me a high five. We in this thing together. She's like, and I don't even care. Like Ms. Norma said, it's on him. If you do what you're supposed to do, you'll end up where you need to end up. You do what you're supposed to do, he'll provide. It's his job. The reason you don't do what you're supposed to do is because you're still sitting on the throne of your heart. If you can't do this, if this is not a part of your budget, you probably don't have one, or you're still sitting on the throne. It's reality. Rabbi talk about bring reality in the room. Reality is, if you can't do this, that's the sign that it's you sitting on the throne. You're sitting on your own financial throne. Oh, Janet had a hand raised. Poor Olivier. We tease Olivier because Janet gets, no, I'm teasing. Go ahead. We do tease Olivier, though. Go ahead.
Yes. No, I just have to praise my father because of what you just said. I just had to stand up and just give him a praise.
Amen.
Because, I was listening to a testimony from Norma, and maybe other people have some similar testimonies, but even in your case, my husband lost his job, full-time job, awesome salary. And he had lined up a job. Actually, he thought he had a job when we were moving here, and they didn't give him the offer. And we went through counseling, and we talked about it and all that. But this was our third year. We had a plan, and then we didn't have a plan anymore. We had a plan. We thought, okay, he's going to have that job, and we're going to start the third tithe, and that was gone. But what happened? He had a different plan. He had higher.
He knows your plan.
He knows.
He knows the plans he has for
I
you.
was transferring my practice from Texas to here. My clients the number of people I was seeing was, compared to where I am right now, this has blown my mind away. How much he has blessed us, because we said, okay, you know what? He has a plan. I'm not worried about it. He's going to provide, and he provided in a way that it's blown my mind away. I mean, I'm still amazed at how much. I mean, everybody asks me, how are you doing? 4 to 5 new clients every week. I get calls for 4 to 5 clients every week. My schedule is full. He has been blessed after the circumcision. He hasn't said that. But after circumcision, he went from very few hours to, he cannot handle the number of hours that he has now for employment.
Overflowing.
Overflowing. That's him.
Amen.
That's what he can do for every single person here.
Absolutely.
Because if we do what he tells us, he will provide in a way that, oh my goodness, it will just, you won't believe it. You won't believe it. But that's how he is. He's very generous. If you're compassionate, if you are faithful with him, he's going to be faithful with you.
Amen.
And that's hallelujah for him.
Amen. Awesome praise. Awesome praise. That's awesome. I know when Rabbi first, you can come up, Vicky. When Rabbi first took me over to the farm after we bought it and we were touring the farm, and I looked at 135 acres. I've never seen 135 acres. I'm from the city. Not in that, just laid out flat, but a couple of little small rolling hills. I looked at 135 acres, and I was so appreciative to Yahweh and to the obedience that Rabbi has in his commitment to Yahweh that we owned it. It's ours. And now looking at building a feast site there and all the things that we're going through in preparation for that, I was crying. I was so overwhelmed with appreciation and honor and reverence to Yahweh to bless and trust that our anointed appointed would do what he said to do with what he had provided. It was huge. I worked for many ministries, many big-time ministries as well in Christianity. Well, they think they're big-time. Well, I thought they were too when I was with them, but I'm sorry. But they weren't doing what they were supposed to do with the money. And guess what? I work in the ministry, and I can tell you that Rabbi goes above and beyond what I've seen any person do in his level of authority and what Yahweh has given him to do. Rabbi is a good steward with everything that Yahweh has given him. He uses it for us. He uses it to establish the covenant that we're all walking in and trying to guard and follow, right? And he did that. So if he did it for Rabbi, he did it for the Israelites, he did it for Moses, he can do it for you. Get off the throne. If these aren't in your budget, you're on the throne. If these aren't in your budget and you say you're not on the throne, you should be finding out how to get here. If you're making money, okay? And I say that because I guarantee you on live stream, because I got some messages yesterday from live stream I couldn't read. There were a lot of people on live stream that have fixed incomes on government assistance, so on and so forth, that are trying to do these three. And they believe with all their heart it's a tithe. Even though it's not tithable income, it would be an offering because it's not on earned income. But they're asking me, how do I get a part-time job? I want a part-time job because I want to be able to do this. We got disabled people on government assistance trying to figure out how to do 3 tithes because in their mind it's tithe, no matter what I tell them. No matter what Rabbi say, they're offering, they said it's a tithe because I'm taking 10%. So from that thinking, I understand they're saying a tenth is a tithe. So they're going to send it, and they're trying to figure out how to do this. You just heard from Janet, you heard from me, you heard from Norma, and many of you have the same testimony, how when you became obedient to what he told you to do, he blessed you. He took the same job that she wanted, the plans that she had, because he knew the plans that he had for her, that when she got the raise, it covered the first, second, and third tithe. So in essence, he blessed her with another position that she wanted that took care of all of her needs. He said, I'll supply all of your needs according to my riches and glory. But you got to do what? You got to walk it out. You got to have a plan, know your why, walk it out, rinse, repeat. Know your plan, because you might fail. You rinse, repeat, start again. All right? But if this is not in your, I'm going to say it again. If this is not the first 3 lines on your budget, you're sitting on the throne, your financial throne in your heart. He's not sitting there. He says, do this, and in Norma's case, I'll give you this. I'll give you a raise to cover all these 3 things. I just need you to be obedient. You're obedient, I can work on these. And guess what? If you put these things first, everything else will fall in place. You need to know your why. You need to have a plan. You need to work your butt off to get it. Savings plans work. All right? Got it? All right, last. Got a few minutes. Lastly, I want to give you a 30-day challenge. 30-day challenge. That's awesome to see you guys writing this down. That is awesome. 30-day challenge. Well, you can always go back and listen to it. Do you know I don't take many notes when Rabbi teaches? Sometimes I have to go back because I'm afraid if I stop and write something, I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss that important nugget, so I don't write much. So don't be judging me. Elder Billy don't never take no notes. No, I go back and watch it so I can pause it, take notes, pause it, take notes. He talks, I might miss a nugget. It's important stuff. 30-day challenge. You know your why. I gave you the first goal, save 1 month of living expenses. Second one is, a lot of you I know are investigating insurance. Get with me. If you don't know, you need term. But because of age and things like that, I can give you some recommendations for people that do it, that we trust, that do those kind of things. And then the third thing you want to get into is getting at least 6 months to a year of living expenses. All right? Then pay off your debt, all your debt except your mortgage, from smallest to largest. Look at Rabbi's Money Mastery teachings. Track your spending for a month so you can help balance your budget. Make sure you put in Yahweh first in all things. Invite him in. When you and your wife looking at each other cross-eyed when y'all sitting down to look at your budget, and you say, hey, I don't want to look at it, the husband's usually telling my wife, I don't want to look at it, you take care of it. So I bring them into the meetings. The husband just sit there quietly, and he's just looking at his wife while we go over numbers. He's like, what? When they get to, the credit card bill or Amazon or whatever the case is, and they, what? You spent, well, you should know about it. That's why you're here, right? 30-day challenge. So for the first 30 days, what I want you to do, specifically one thing, is to save the first month. If you got more than that, that's fine. Save that. You saw the 3 things that I had up here, the savings, your plan, work your butt off to reach your plan. If something happens, like it's happened to me many times, and you get fired, get another job, counsel if need be, rinse, repeat, do it again. You want to do it until you got 30 days. 30 days saved. For most people, that's an extra $3,000, $5,000. You want to have that. That's going to be your emergency fund. That's where you want to start and have that just sitting there. It's not a lot. Just have it sitting there. While that's sitting there, pay the minimums on all of your bill or your credit cards, because the interest bearing I care about. Pay the minimums on your interest bearing and try to knock out the smallest to the largest. Rabbi goes through that in his teaching. You get that win because you knocked off that small credit card bill, it's $300. You knocked it out. You got to win, right? Then take the money you put towards the $300, go to the next, so on and so forth, till you get to the end like Miss Norma in her testimony, till you put in $1,600 paying off, an insane amount of money. But she's working really well because she had a plan. She didn't say she's working 12 jobs. She just has a plan. She's working her plan. Yahweh has blessed her with her plan to give her increase, to accomplish it faster because he's first. Got it? And the awesome part about all of this is you guys can call for counsel. And I'm not talking about my business part of that. I told you that's more in depth, one-on-one. But I'm just talking about being able to call and say, and I get those calls all the time. That's what I do. That's why Rabbi hired me. Hey, I want to buy a car. Or I want to fix a car. Or should I buy another car or should I fix the car I got? I get those calls. And I ask the questions, what kind of car it is, blah, blah, blah. And help you get through it. We all do it. Many of you wanted to meet with me about finances and were surprised when I took you in there to the master financial coach, which is Rabbi Steve. And I said, before you talk to me, you have to talk to him. He's the senior guy. He's the senior life coach, finance coach, spiritual coach, health coach. Can't tell you how many lotions and potions and vitamins he suggested to me since I worked for him. He's awesome. He's a big brother, he's not old enough, unless he was 13, to have me as a son. But I honor him as a father. I respect him a lot. But he's a big brother, and he's always looking out. He got me to stop drinking 5-Hour Energy. I need one right now. But I love him, and I love his heart because he cares. He gives. And he's always available. When he mentions how I'm trying to make him not so accessible, because I don't want to wear him out because I need him. I know I'm a little protective of them because we need them. Because in order to get to from where we are to where we need to get to, we not only need this part, but we need the part that he brings. Amen? Amen. Well, let's welcome him to the stage, Rabbi Steve Buxton.
Okay, you guys going to transition from this video and then start the new one and then give me a countdown?